Welcome back to the Rob and Eritrea Show on Diabetics Doing Things. We're closing out the year.
I still think we need a song, some kind of theme, something. But yeah, it's Rob. It's me. It's Rob. We're here. It's our show.
It is. We can do a song next year. That'll put that on our list of things. We can do a special little audio thing.
I mean, this is like our Christmas holiday episode, so like a jingle, something.
I wouldn't be surprised if Ashley starts cooking something up after we say that. So, as you know, and we've talked about, and as our longtime listeners know, I like to sum up the year generally at the end of the calendar year, just because I'm a creature of habit. I think as you get towards the end of the year, it's just important to take inventory of like the things that you changed. Even looking back on like if you're really disciplined or really crazy like me, you look back at your like New Year's resolutions on what you wanted to do. So depending on how you stuck with them. And I also think some of it is just the like going into another year of diabetes as well for me, because my anniversary is on New Year's Day. So I always sort of end the calendar year that way. Anyhow, I want to talk about us. We did a lot of cool stuff this year. I think in your notes, and I confirmed this because I was like, did we do more episodes than that? We did 43 episodes in 2023. So that's a lot. I think our goal was to do 3 per month minimum. And we hit that every single month. And we did 43 episodes. So we even went over our estimate. So shout out to us.
I think, yes, shout out to us. But I also think the number 43, it just sounds small, right? Like when you look at it, if you know what really goes into podcasting, it's not just the hour that Rob and I sit here and talk to each other, get to spend a lovely hour with a guest. There's like all this other stuff that has to happen behind the scenes. Shout out Ashley to make it to the internet and Rob. So that was 43 episodes, but every single one of them was an absolute labor. And I think it's important that, we're taking a moment to just acknowledge them.
Well, you got to experience that in a way that you hadn't normally either, because
you
got to do your Women's History Month. And especially when you're coordinating schedules overseas before the holidays, and for diabetes specifically before National Diabetes Awareness Month, it's pretty challenging to not only get guests to agree to come on, but then also like make the time and then, do all the prep.
I think, that's a real, wow, I forgot about that. 3 whole episodes where I did both jobs was hard, because I guess for these episodes, we just show up, like Rob and I, we're always going to be here, right? So and it's easy to be friends with each other. But for those, like you said, there's a whole other layer there. And it is just honest work. So I learned a lot this year, not just about being a producer, but also just about being a creator and a podcaster. And I hope I get to continue to learn. Inshallah, we continue.
Yeah, for sure. I think creator is a good, you did a lot more content for yourself as well, and kind of like finding your voice as a diabetes creator, not just as someone who does that for her job and for, side hustle / side advocacy / content creation, but also for you as a person. So I'm looking forward to continuing to be a part of that, because I got to be honest with you, not to put you on blast on the pod. If you're going to be my like Padawan learner, we gotta change some stuff about your personal content. We got to make it. You're going to glow up. Your personal content is going to glow so much in 2024.
Okay, pause. Before, so this whole episode, guys, was going to be a big pat on the back of Diabetics Doing Things. But now I got to pause, Rob, and be like, hold on, dog. Because in 2023, I wrote articles, right? Like I wrote articles that did really well on the internet. Like they're on the SEO or whatever. In 2023, I did WebMD, baby girl. Like calm yourself, okay? In 2023, I still went to conferences. I just feel like, yes, I'll glow up, but don't try to take away from my shimmer. Leave me alone.
Okay, I won't. No more bullying. No more.
Yeah, I know. I don't think I can handle it today.
A bullying free zone. Okay, so you had your list here in the show notes, because we're talking about the podcast right now, of your top episodes or your favorite guests or some standouts or things that stood out to you. So let's dig into them. What do you think? What was your like Diabetics Doing Things wrapped for Eritrea?
I love that you're putting in that perspective. For me, sometimes stars align at Diabetics Doing Things. Actually, stars aligns for us a lot. We are lucky people here. And we did the episode on our content production day. So we had already like allotted a day that we were going to put to the side and do like just like produce all day long. I think we were just going to do reels and videos and all this stuff. And we ended up having Lauren on the show that day. And she came
Lauren
with her
Cox.
mom. Yeah, Lauren Cox and her mom and her sister. And it was just such an awesome day full of that was one of my favorite days out of the year. So that was probably one of my favorite episodes, and like listening to episodes was really cool too. Plus like the videos that wow, it's that whole thing. Dr. Adala, her episode was amazing. I think that when we get to talk about racial disparities and change in care because of socioeconomic barriers or where you are geographically or how you grew up or what you're used to, I think that when we can talk about it, that's awesome. But I also think it's on that specific episode, we got to take it further because it was like, okay, we know this. Now what? Right? Like, what are the people of the world doing? What are healthcare providers doing to make diabetes look easier for people who look like me? So that episode was special. 2023 is the birth of the Rob and Eritrea Show. So
is it though? Or we just like we named it that?
That's what we named it that. But like, here's the thing. This may be hard for you to believe, listeners, but Rob was a solo podcaster, alone in his podcast pod, just throughout the universe, talking to himself into the void. Like, how many solo episodes did you do before I came along, right?
I think I did like 4 or 5.
So
I can still. I've done some since you've been on too. I think
for sure.
Sometimes it's just healthy for me to get on and get it let out, just like talk.
For sure. But it was like the birth of an idea that we actually finally solidified into an actual program, right? Because like we had this back and forth thing already. Like I remember the first episode we did where like we introduced me to the pod and that was a mess. And please don't go listen to it, listeners, please. But now we've like solidified it into a program and we did it monthly. We pulled up a cadence and now it's a thing. It's our thing and we're going to keep doing it. Of course, it would be like, I would not be able to like finish this list without talking about Mohammed Sayam, my friend from Gaza who lives in London, his episode and the republication of Noor's episode. I think
too, like just the amount of work that was going on behind the scenes just to make those happen as quickly as they were. And I think just looking back, it was a struggle to do them. And I think we had a lot of different discussions about how to do it in the right and authentic way. But in December 2023, looking back, you know, I'm very glad that we did, and B, you know, it was an early time to be publishing that type of sentiment. Like globally, I think that also had not really been centered, and having Palestinian people centered at the, you know, current escalation of the conflict. And so I think that was really important. And I think I learned a lot too. Also, having revisiting the Noor episode, I was like, man, we talked about this 2 years ago. And I think for me that was and also with my other Palestinian friends, feeling very fortunate to have those people in my life, and also to see a little bit of what it's like for people who are Palestinian or even just Arab, and the sort of emotional labor that we require them to do to explain their right to exist. And I think that also, in reading some of the source material from that episode, Except for Palestine is a great audiobook, and digging into the politics and the wars over land and ultimately like just hateful war over the last few centuries, you know, and 100 years in particular. It's really simple to see what it comes down to. And I think
those are hard.
More people could do well to learn from people like Muhammad and people like Noor to hear from those voices. So yeah, I feel very grateful that we did some of that hard work, like you said.
I mean, I think it was just hard. Like it was just so. It was emotional, right? Like it was so. I mean, it still is. Like we are still in the throes of talking to our friends in Gaza, trying to still get them resources. Like I had a meeting for the DHAC on Friday with the World Health Organization, and we are still trying to do something because it's still an ongoing genocide. I am proud of us though for. I think it was so interesting. Something I want to hit on just before we move on to the next thing that I really liked from our Wrapped is that you said we were publishing that type of content before the rest of the world had really like also jumped onto the this is a genocide, this is bad train, essentially. And in my mind, it's like all Muslims already knew it was bad. All of it. It's like, because I know you said Arab, but it's like all Islamic people already knew. So it was like, it just took a long time for Westernized society. I don't want to say just Caucasian people because it's not only white people. So it took a long time for American, British, just the rest of the non-Muslims to be like, oh no, this is actually turning into something crazy that is still going on. So,
Yeah, and I think you see it now if you looked at all of the different UN votes over the course of the last 2 months
yeah.
of like from where they started to where they are now. And I think you're right. You see sort of a globalized coalition advocating for rights for people in Palestine.
As we continue to talk about other places, and it's not skip over Palestine, but I can only talk about what I can talk about. I want to talk about Rachel Heckerman's episode because that was an episode that I didn't expect to enjoy as much as I did. She is a sweet gal and a kind human.
A sweet gal.
That's honestly how, for me to say that that's how I feel about somebody, like genuinely. I love following her on the internet. She's actually either in Antarctica right now or just got back.
Yeah, she's just doing a casual research project for NASA, just all around an awesome, amazing, cool, creative person who is friend of the pod. And I even have been getting Antarctica content, like Antarctica tourism content on TikTok.
Should go. What an episode. Think about that.
Do you know, you're going to hate me for this because do you know what the passage is called on the sea to get from Argentina to Antarctica?
Isn't it Drake's Passage?
It's the Drake Passage.
I do hate you for this, but I did know that.
They say if you listen to Drake on the Drake Passage that you're granted eternal life and free admission to heaven. That's
really? I also heard that on that Drake's Passage it can go one of two ways. It's either like very peaceful and like totally fine,
or the worst ride of your life.
Absolute fucking chaos. So if you ever
80-foot waves, like, it's like a cruise ship. I saw a video. This couple was like on lockdown. They couldn't leave their room. They were delivering food to all the rooms for like 30 hours because the seas were so bad.
Now imagine that's happening and they're playing nonstop Drake. I would just kill me. I'm sorry. Just beam me up. Like I cannot.
I'd be like over the toilet throwing up like 10 bands, 50 bands, 100 bands. Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know.
So shout out Rachel Heckerman. You also had Nick Callis on there, which I think is the front runner for my like emotional connection episode because you guys know of my like comedy background and like, vulnerability is such a huge part of that. But I came into that episode after like researching him thinking like Nick makes some like unhinged, like wild, hilarious comedy. But he came on the show and was like so open and so sweet and just like nice and humble and like raw with us about living with diabetes and sort of the emotional side of it that I came away from that feeling way better. I was like, those are the episodes I think about when podcasting of like, man, I had a busy day before that. I was like, it was in the middle of a bunch of things and I was kind of stressed out. I came away from that feeling much better than I went into it.
You've never said that you felt that after a Rob and Eritrea episode. I'm just kidding. No.
That's true.
But
That's true.
I'm sure our conversations are very stressful, but I agree with you. I feel like there's not many white men that make me feel warm and fuzzy inside. And after like consuming a bit of his content, I just wasn't expecting that. Like I was expecting like some, whatever. And he ended up being so like deep and insightful. And I feel like he taught me something about people. Which is like the type of which I already knew this, right, as a content creator, but the type of content you create, there's so much more to you, right? Like what you put out on the internet is not the depths of your soul. And I feel like in 45 minutes, I met a really good human being. And there's not that many of those out there. So Nick, I hope you're listening to this. And if you are, big shout out. That was an awesome interview. I hope we talk to him again soon. He was cool.
Yeah, I agree. He was dope. I agree with you. Like we think we know all these people, these content creators are like even our favorites, like, and we'll get to that later. Like there are some people that we are their favorite content creators. And first of all, like, I love you for that, people out there, but like, you guys don't know us, so, like, and people are not monoliths, just like.
Watch it just be our parents. It's just you, your mom, my mom, or my dad replaying it in all their phones. Like
that's fine. That's fine. But like they don't have 75 phones. So like, we were 75 people's #1 podcast on Spotify last year, which
Aw,
I don't take for granted. I don't take that for granted. So
that's a
I
little
think
pie.
350 we were in their top 3. So, there's a lot of podcasts out there. There's never been more podcasts. There's never been more cool, awesome creators and stuff going on, or the ability to access it. And those people chose to spend their time with us.
Wait. So wait. Okay, pause. So
When you
there's
say
of
pause,
all.
what do you mean? Do you mean actually pause, or do you mean?
No, I mean like pause. Like hold on, I'm thinking,
Okay.
and you went too fast. I don't mean pause like your weird bro pause that you men people do. That's not the pause I mean. I meant like. So you said 3% of a lot of 300. Or, no, 350 people for them. We were their number 1 pod or their 3rd% pod. Sorry, that's what I
Top
did.
3. We were in their top 3.
Oh, that's so many people. Oh, you guys. Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
No,
and then 75 people, we were their number 1.
I've never been anybody's number 1 anything, so that's nice. That
See,
was
yeah.
look at that. Look at God. Wow. Well, you know what? I'm grateful that anybody would want to listen to us. And also I'm grateful that to anybody who came on the pod. I just wanted to say that before we moved on from the favorites. There are so many other people that came on here. Keisha, Gary, like I could sit here and name all of them. These are just a little bit of the standout moments that just really like I wanted to just like make sure we highlighted. But for everybody who came onto this podcast, the program would not be possible without you. So thank you for your time, of course, and thank you for being here with us. And for those of you who are listening, wow, thank you for continuing to listen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, just kind of going through like top moments. I loved Raquel's podcast. I really liked Rena Rossi's podcast. Type 1 Mary Type 1 was on the list. That was awesome. Our friend Greta Ellers was on the list. Janet Marin, Maya Papaya. We had some great
Emma
folks.
from Life for a Child, my homegirl.
Just
my
posted
girl.
Emma. We had Samantha from Sam from Star Wars.
Oh yeah,
came
Samantha
on.
Lane, my boo.
We had a stormtrooper on the podcast. So we had a really great year of amazing people. So I am going to do a couple of solo episodes coming up just for my 19th anniversary, and then a special episode with Erica that we'll publish on this feed towards the end of the year to talk a little bit about the shift of power and the content creation rankings in our house, because she's now the number 1 content creator. So we got more of that in terms of like
This is
followers.
key because I actually
big stuff.
I don't know this stuff.
Yeah, she has like 22,000 followers on Instagram now. So she's a big deal because of her bag work. So we'll talk about that. But anyhow, back to the topic. We did a ton. We had a great year of podcasting, and what we learned is that the podcast is our foot in the door. It's our number 1 media property. It reaches the most people. It has the most impact, and it's opened the doors for everything else. And even though we're adding more things, even though we've never done more things at Diabetics Doing Things than we did in 2023, the podcast is still number 1. So with that, though, I want to talk about some of the milestones and high points that I'm proud of from this year. So at the beginning of the year, we had our kickoff meeting with Ashley, and she and I spent time over the holidays in 2022 to talk about setting our rocks for 2023. And the way that system works is you say what you want to accomplish, and then you basically break that down over the 4 quarters, and then you break it down into smaller chunks. How do you eat an elephant 1 bite at a time? So we did 0 events in 2022. We did 4 events in 2023. We had the Pax and Beneficia meetup. We're going to do another one of those. We had a North Texas Food Bank Getting Started with Diabetes virtual meeting, which launched our entire program, Getting Started with Diabetes with the North Texas Food Bank. We did Diabetes Legends in Denver.
That was huge.
I'm going to do 2 of next year. And then we just finished up 2 weeks ago the Diabetics Doing Things Pickleball Classic. So just like right from the like, even if we did nothing else, like that would have been like a huge accomplishment. And so we did that. And I think everybody who bought a ticket to those came and showed up, which we had 100% attendance from everybody who bought a ticket. They showed up and they showed out. And I'm so grateful for the people who came to our first round of events, because this was a year of proving the concept. Because we had these ideas, but we weren't sure what they were going to be like or if we could do them. And we proved them out this year, and we are going to grow them and continue to dig in in the coming years. So just be prepared for more Diabetes Legends. Be prepared for more Diabetics Doing Things Pickleball Classic. It's going big. And it's all because of the work that we did, the groundwork that we laid at the beginning of this year, and coming to work every day. Like Eritrea said, we earlier, it is real work. It's 3 people doing this with a very small percentage of their brains and their time. And we came a long way.
A small percentage of our brains. I remember last week when I was like, is my brain ever on? And you're like, we will never know. Anyways, because it's just extra. But I want to break down these events a little bit more. So Pax and Benfica, I remember us being afraid that no one was gonna come. Do you remember? Like we were so nervous. I was just like, oh, Rob said, if we can get 15 people to a coffee shop, that's all we need. And I was like, how are we gonna pull this off? And then we did, not only did we have 15 people at the coffee shop, a random man that was just there also just randomly had diabetes. So I just also just have to have faith that people with diabetes want to do these things. And I'm so grateful to everyone who's come to all the things. I always forget about our virtual event that we did, but that was incredible. That started our partnership with North Texas Food Bank, because now we're doing so much more work with them. And I feel like our partnership with them has now it's just motivated us to do even more stuff, like the pickleball event that we just did. Guys, we raised $13,000 for our partnership with the North Texas Food Bank at this first pickleball tournament thing. When I don't even play pickleball, girl. Neither does Ashley. Rob was just out here like, hey, it's a sport. We could throw a thing. Let's just see what happens. And we raised $13,000. That's crazy to me. Like, how did we do that?
Well, yeah, I mean, we did. And I think, we got sponsors on board and people showed up. We had people also, you were talking about the guy who had an Omnipod on during that just showed up at PAX and had no idea about our event. But 2 people just showed up for random play at the pickleball tournament and were like, she's like, oh, you guys have the court? Well, can we register now? And they just bought a ticket or registered for the tournament on site and played all morning. So, we had people who had never, nobody in their life with diabetes. They just, wanted to come play pickleball for a good cause. And I think,
my gosh, there was this one guy, I can't remember his name, but he listens to the pod. And if you're listening to this, you were my favorite person that day. Okay, dude. You had never played pickleball before. You were there with your girlfriend. We played pickleball with each other. And he was like, I'm here because I love Rob Howe. He was like, I hate to say this because Rob's head is just going to get bigger than it's ever been. He's just going to float away. But the guy, he loved the pod. And he was like, I love listening to you guys. And every month, you're just so real. And I love it. And that's why I'm here. I've never played pickleball before, but I'm just here to make friends and be cool. And it was just such a moment. We're not doing anything but bringing people good vibes and being cool. And it was awesome. It was so awesome and for a good cause. So
it was fun. And I think I learned a lot. I also learned that people who play pickleball show up. They will show
Passenger.
Up. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad you brought that up. Wow. How do we forget? Diabetes legend herself, Stargirl on DC. I think it's on Tubi right now too. I saw a post today. Stargirl is on Tubi. Go watch literal T1D superhero Breck Bassinger, who was the champion.
Oh my God,
period,
she's killing it.
The champion of the Diabetics Doing Things Pickleball Classic of the inaugural one. We may have to name the whole trophy after her.
Didn't she play? Wait, didn't you play her and get your ass beat?
Yes, absolutely. Because Erica and I had played, but not really competitive, and we were like, well, we need more teams in the competitive division. So what do? I stepped up.
Oh yeah, okay.
I wasn't the stepdad. I'm just the dad who stepped up. So yeah, that's for me. Again, there were moments at all these events. We talked about Diabetes Legends till we're blue in the face, how there was magic in the gym. We were at the Pickleball Classic and Breck Bassinger's just there. We didn't pay her to be there. We didn't really, she just commented on the post, was like, I'm there. We know she loves pickleball, but she showed up. She had just been overseas for 6 months. So just the timing worked out. She showed up and then she won the whole thing.
Oh my God.
Again, there's just these things, these signals. If you really dig in deep, if you really don't allow mainstream media to corrupt you, and you look at what the impact of these events, then you can see that we're supposed to be doing these things. So it's all there. The groundwork is there, and I learned a lot about throwing a pickleball tournament. I'm going to have the #1 independent pickleball tournament in Dallas-Fort Worth. It's happening. It's already there. It just hasn't caught up yet. I can get into all of these pickleball communities. I'm going to be bringing coolers of seltzers all summer long to pickleball playgrounds all over DFW next year to recruit people for the Diabetics Doing Things
Don't
Pickleball
say
Classic.
okay. Pickleball adult playgrounds, please, guys. If you see Rob around children, like
yeah, these are adults. But yes, at the same time, like pickleball courts are at public spaces. They're on Facebook groups. They're all passionate people looking to connect, and they love a good cause. And guess what? We have a good cause, helping food insecure people with diabetes in North Texas. We've got a small cohort of people who have asked that they want to be involved and volunteer. We're going to get them around. If there's one thing I've learned from this year, because we've also published like 120 plus videos.
Oh my God. That's what we haven't even started talking about that yet. Oh my God.
So again, back to the consistency, we over 300,000 total views on Instagram, just on Instagram. YouTube is going wild. We're like just about to get monetized there after all these years, finally. And it's because we're staying consistent. But the reason that I've learned, and like what I want to take into next year, is that it's all about community. And community on the internet, people always talk about growing community, growing followers, growing website visits, growing subscribers, whatever. But to me, it's like what you can give to the people in your group. Like your community can give to each other. And so I'm going to dig deep into the small groups. So there's going to be smaller cohorts, because that's where the impact happens. And so you're going to be in our Discord at some point. You're going to be in our email list. You're going to be hearing from me. We're going to be over delivering to a small group of people who want to make an impact. And that's how we're going to grow. 75 people. We were their number one podcast. Those people can help us go to the next level. 350 people were in their top 3. We're doing something right for them. Let's just grow those numbers and continue to deliver that. So we did the events. In the middle, we also went to Friends for Life. Children with diabetes as a team. It was our first team trip. We all went to Denver later. It was like we went, we've uncovered a lot of miles this year. And when we were there, we did 2 things. We used it as our jumping off point to focus our pitch for Diabetes Center Burn Innovation Challenge, which we had a top 20 finish, which was really awesome. And then we also formulated our mission and our vision. And that wasn't something that I had really thought we were going to do this year. But as we got through all of our pieces, it really became clear that our vision of creating a more equitable world for people with diabetes and creating space for people with diabetes to live, work, and play it's what we're here to do. And I think our event with North Texas Food Bank in the summer really presented a unique opportunity for us to involve diabetes creators in diabetes advocacy and let them do what they do to help other people. And I think that sort of cycle, that sort of flywheel of putting creators in the right position to meet a need that's currently unmet for people who are currently forgotten, and then continuing to turn that wheel, is going to yield us long-term results and really, puts our space in there. Because a lot of our guests over the years have been diabetes creators. I am a diabetes creator. Eritrea is a diabetes creator. And we know what it's like to live and work and create content with diabetes, and it is very hard. So the more we can do to create resources and opportunities for creators with diabetes, the better off we're going to be. And so I'm really excited to bring the Diabetes Creator Collective more into focus next year, both for community as well as opportunities for different people, and grow our platform that way.
I love how you said, like, it's like to do things, girl, to pay your bills as a diabetes creator. That is the bottom line, to pay your bills. We know how hard it can be. So I think that, I don't know, I don't want to say too much about the Creator Collective, but I'm very excited for to be the guinea pig, and to also just like everybody to get to see it. Because I really think that there are so many layers to industry and maintaining a career in diabetes content creation that you just nobody tells you, right? So if we can help anybody and make it easier so we can all eat, why not?
Exactly.
Everybody eats. What is that? The Wire? No. Soprano? No. What is that? Like, everybody eats. Never mind. Obscure pop culture reference. I'm the producer here, not you. Forget it.
Okay. I want to dig in. We talked about Diabetes Legends. What a day. We also did the live pod with Gary. Just meeting Gary in person for the first time was really great.
He's my favorite person. Every time he, like, He was in one of my little like Vlogmas things, or no, he was in my Vlogmas thing for Diatribe, and in it he's wearing his little Diabestie bracelet that I gave it, and he like commented underneath and it was like Diabesties for life. So move over, any person that has ever been called my Diabestie, because ex NBA Super Bowl human and new father Gary Forbes is now that. Thank
And congrats to Gary and his family for the
Oh my
addition
God.
of their new baby. And
So
also,
cute.
there's very few people on this earth who like the show C on Apple Plus as much as I do, and Gary's one of them. And so, if it's not diabetes, if it's not basketball, it's C on Apple Plus. It's not a good show, but it's maybe the best show I've ever seen. So I don't know if you. It's my guilty pleasure watch, and for Gary too. So that was a weird thing that we bonded over.
You
So
really want people to watch the show? I'm not gonna watch it.
no, you don't have to
So
watch it. I actually don't even think it's that good, but I couldn't stop watching it, and that's all I can say.
but yeah, that was great.
Oh, my sensor's updating. That's a fun alert to get. It's the last day of the sensor though.
Yeah, your last day of your like 13 millionth day. Hasn't it been like 10 days or something like that?
No, my sensors only last 7 days.
Oh, sorry.
Guardian
Sorry.
Force.
I'm not the Medtronic girl. That's
I am the Medtronic girl. So I do want to, with Medtronic on the brain, let's talk, because without this episode, you guys know that this show is like fully supported by sponsors and our number one sponsor, Rob Howell. But
Thank
Medtronic
you to
and
Father
Mankind
Warbucks.
were our two sort of long-standing annual partners, and without you guys, none of this would have been possible. I think that the belief that you guys have had in us over the years has gotten us to this point, and I'm really excited to continue to work with both of you going forward. But also, we had Xeris and Insulet and Diabetes Link came on and Beyond Type 1 for their support of the Pickleball Classic. I have more sponsor stuff going out for you guys later this month, but it was awesome. It was an unbelievable day. We got some great photos, got some great t-shirts, and people just had a blast. And you guys were part of that. And I think you mentioned earlier peak days with diabetes. We're not promised those. And we got a couple big ones. We had the production day with Lauren Cox, which was so great. We had Diabetes Legends with Gary Forbes and all those kids. We had the Pickleball Classic. All those were days where we were brought together by diabetes, but the fun that we had.
TMI moment.
Big sneeze in the studio. You guys don't want to see. I'm a violent sneezer. Most people don't know this, but it's extremely loud.
God, you have all these violent, like, physical reactions. Last month, it was the violent burping. Now we're with the violent sneezing.
I wouldn't characterize my burping as violent, just to be totally 100, but it's basically sneezing and vomiting, but I was sneezing there, so now you guys know a little bit more about me.
More than we ever needed to know. But anyway, what were you saying?
I was saying that diabetes brought us to all those events, and it brought us together, and we had a great time in spite of all the diabetes stuff. So, I think as we look to next year, you're like, well, okay, how can you top this? And I will say, I'm purposefully resisting like the need for like huge growth. That's just, I think, just me learning from experience. But we are going to do more Diabetes Legends events. We are going to do another Pax and Beneficia event. We're going to do the Pickleball Classic again. I committed to 10 years. We got 9 more to go.
Oh my.
And, I think for next year, it's just continuing to double down on what we do really well, which is diabetes content and working with diabetes creators. So keep it locked. There's going to be some opportunities for people who are diabetes creators to get involved with us. And yeah, that's about it. What are you doing over the holidays? Anything?
Wait, no. Just a minute. Pause. Rewind. Before you do that, I got to go on my little spiel of my top also Eritrea moments for the year. So I get like my WebMD thing and whatever, because I thought you were attacking me for a moment. So I felt like, I need to pop through the screen real quick, remind you who I am, G. But what were your top Rob moments? Like, you talk about the pod and all your stuff, but like, you're also a human being with a whole life outside of just diabetics doing things. What were your top creator moments this year, you think, for yourself personally?
Oh, man. I loved the innovation challenge. I think that was such a cool thing for me. And it wasn't necessarily that like we won or we got like a bunch of money from it or anything, because we didn't, but I learned about myself that I thrive in structure, and like most of the structure that I have in my life is self-imposed. Like I bring that because I know I need it. But having like an external like milestones and deadlines and something that I'm like responsible for and I'm dependent on is good for me. So I'm looking for more opportunities like that for next year. I think Erica's content and like, she's had a tough year professionally, and seeing her kind of like grow into and use that part of her brain and spirit is a high moment for me. So I'm really happy for her on that. I won 2 or 3 basketball league championships this year. I came in second 3 times in 2022, and I went 3 for 5 this year. So I came in second twice. We lost one at the buzzer, and I'm still a little bit sad about it, but and one of the leagues in particular was the league that I was like running and managing. So that one is a little bit sweeter as well. I had never won that league before, and now I have. So I don't know. That was really those are big moments. I think the trips and like I don't know. It was kind of a year of work for me. I
Mhm.
journaled almost every day. I set my goal for the year to increase my strain on my whoop, which is like the exercise output, by 20% over the course of the year. I accomplished that goal. I I shot 81 twice on in golf, which I've been trying to break 80 for a number of years, and I haven't been able to do it, but I'm getting close. And I think there's just a lot of things to be excited about that aren't work. We moved into a new office at Recreation, like a huge new office that we shot some content in. It's also your WebMD video
Yeah.
location.
Oh, gosh.
So, I think there's a lot to be happy for about, and a lot to it was a challenging year. We did a lot. We explored, we proved the concept. Diabetes Legends is maybe, one of my biggest accomplishments of
Yeah.
my life. I think that was just amazing. Pickleball, I think I'm so excited it worked as well as it did. I don't know. I look at the sum of all of our stuff, and I'm extremely bullish on what we can accomplish going forward. And so, you know, I didn't have the cool year of travel like I had in 2022, where, Eric and I went on our honeymoon and we went to Stockholm and all that stuff. But I did discover a lot about myself and a lot about discipline and how much you can accomplish if you just stay focused and you just commit. And I think that's what I'd like people out there to feel is like, also, like you talked about earlier, we were panicked that like 12 people might not show up to our first
Mhm.
meetup, and they did. We had like 20 people there, right? So if it looks easy, it's not. If it looks like we're doing this and every single person tells us yes, and every single person is on board with what we're doing, that is not the case. We had to fire a venue for our
So
for
funny.
pickleball championships because they were just being dicks. So like, I pitch brands that I've worked with for a number of years and like don't get a yes right away. It's hard out there. And I think that's one of the reasons why I still stay galvanized on trying to create a better ecosystem for creators, because like Eritrea said, you're trying to at least get your bills paid,
Yeah.
and like that Maslow's hierarchy of needs, in order for you to self-actualize, like you got to have the foundation there. And, the foundation of this company is the podcast, and we really delivered hard this year, and we're going to continue to do more next year. I think what I need from you guys who are listening is more feedback and engagement on who you want to see on this podcast and what you want to learn from them, because it's not just me. And I think that's something that's really cool. You get to grow past just yourself and get to be on, a pathway that opens you up to a ton of more possibility. So I don't know. I'm grateful. I'm not stopping. I'm not taking my foot off the gas, but I feel like I have a lot more direction and a lot better idea of what our long-term place in the space can be. And, sometimes you look up and you've been doing a podcast for 8 years. It's been 8 years of
Right.
8 years of recording podcasts on this feed. as of last month. So I published the website in November 2015, and I don't know. It's been a wild ride since, and I don't want to stop it now.
That was beautiful. Good job, dog. I was just like, because I was like, I'm not about to let you just, slide on, but come on. You did a lot. You became an uncle this year.
I was already an uncle. Shout out
Yeah,
to
I don't know why I
Jacqueline,
thought,
my older niece.
I don't know why I thought you got a new one. But yeah,
I
2023 is
did
full.
get a new one though, and I'm gonna go see the bebe in the first week of January. So like I get to also be. I've been trying to double down and like be a good family member. Something I
It's
heard.
hard for men, by the way.
I heard Kobe talk about this one time on. He has his documentary is called Muse that he did in 2015 while he was recovering from his Achilles. And he talked about like when you're on the path like to try to be the best at something, you're trying to be the greatest, like some of the other things that are also important fall by the wayside. And I really had never heard anybody say that, and it really resonated with me at the time. And so, again, my family, they're the people that know me best, and they are always in my court, and I just appreciate the opportunity to hop in a group chat with them. And I don't want to. I think the new baby is like giving me kind of renewed perspective on that, because if I don't go see her while she's an infant, like she won't be an infant anymore, and time goes by. So it's like if you don't go spend time and tell the people you love them and celebrate them and support them, then you never know when you may not have another chance to do that. So, for me, I think keeping focused on what's important, not getting distracted by all of the, to quote Zoolander, all the beautiful celebrities. There's always a new thing there to distract us all the time about novelty. There are things going on in the world that we can't control, and that, you can easily find yourself getting pulled into and ruin your day or ruin your week or make you feel like you're not doing something. And, if you're listening to this podcast, I care about you, and that's where I'll leave it.
I think that something that I've learned on this pod is that there is an intersection between being a 10Xer and doing absolutely nothing about your life. Like there's so much space in between this scale, right? Like the very far, far, far extreme person. There are people who are even more extreme than you, Rob, like that are like, which just sounds crazy to believe. And then there's just people who do absolutely nothing. I mean, I'm trying to be the person in the middle who like does the work, but also I'm gonna let it ride, dog. Like most of the time, and that's something I learned over this past weekend when I took my light skin Instagram break. Yes, I left Instagram, but I didn't post about it, so maybe not as light skin as I thought.
Like 2 days.
Yeah, it was 4. But people texted me. They was worried. My brother called me and was like, "You ain't posting. Your account is gone. Are you alive?" But that's not the point. The point is that I learned something, and this is something that you say all the time, or you've said it to me before privately. Most of the time, things have a way of working out. You've put in the work, you've done the time, like you've done what you're supposed to do. Just show up. And I think that this year I learned that next year, even though I have done a lot of the cool travel things, it's my turn to just kind of sit back, not do as much cool travel things, really focus and decide what kind of space I want to take up as a creator and what intersections of my identity do I really want to continue to talk about as much as possible, so that it can make the world of people living with diabetes better, so that people who do live in my intersections and live in my type of identities have a better experience upon diagnosis and going through their diabetes. So I get to learn a lot from your experiences, which is nice. Sometimes I feel like I'm like your younger sister or something, because it's like Rob does all this stuff, and it's like maybe I'll do that next year, because now I journal, right? I do the stupid. It's actually funny. My journal's right here, and my keyboard's right here, and this is where I leave it now, because you said that's what we should do. So there are little things that I get to pick up from you, and I hope that the people who get to listen to our pod also pick up those little good tidbits from us. And if what you get is just one sliver of a shimmer of glitter in your dreary day, then I did my job. Then we're doing our job.
Well, I want to also say, like, you don't have to be a 10Xer to have value. You know, like I came made peace with this year too as well. Like, I'm not in any situation, and I'm very fortunate that I'm not in any situation in my life that I have not opted into, that I have not agreed to do or wanted to do. My ability to manage my way through those situations is totally on me. So, taking responsibility and ownership for the decisions that I make and the situations that I'm in is something I made big progress on this year. But like, I also am not on this on this earth to labor, and I think like
Say that again.
getting comfortable with, what I have to do to make ends meet or what I have to do to accomplish the things I want to accomplish in my life. But also, I think part of the reason that I continue to do this podcast, part of the reason why I feel better after I have a conversation in the middle of the day with Nick Callis, is that this is rooted in purpose.
Yeah.
And it's rooted in like, I could do any number of things, but this is the thing that I'm doing. And my name is Robert. Robert, the translation of Robert means bright fame.
It does.
And yeah, I mean, Google it, look it up.
Google me. Google me, baby.
But, like I have always felt like called to be a leader. I've always felt that was, the role that I just assimilated to. If you met my mom, you know why. She's that way. And I think I just want to make sure that I'm leading myself and my family in the right place and representing people with diabetes well. And as I continue to learn more and I continue to try more things and continue to do podcasts and make videos and, make friends and do events, that we just remember where we were all those years ago when we were told you have diabetes, and whether they told us that you can accomplish any dream that you have for your life, like they told me, or they just told Eritrea, like, get out of this room, lady, and please stop biting me, or somewhere in between, you matter and you got a place here. So, and also my quote of the year, and I'm going to end the whole podcast, I swear, with this, because this is some wild stuff. This is my new quote, and I say it all the time in like my little marketing meetings and stuff. But if you reach 1 million people, 300 of them are murderers. So don't get upset about a weird comment that somebody slides in or that someone hates you from that. Because if you reach 1 million people, 300 of them are murderers.
I can't let you in the podcast like that. In good conscience, as a producer of this show, no, absolutely not. Stop it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So like, all that to say is that it shouldn't matter what 1 or 2 people who have a different opinion than you say.
Oh yeah, but you know what? There's a way better way to say that, and it's gonna be so not Eritrea. Oh my god,
I disagree. I think you're wrong.
They are. What is it?
Well,
that's happened to me.
Yeah. So and you cannot tell me that it doesn't hurt, even though you get mad, right? And you want to fight. You want to get mad. You like, bro, see me, you catch me outside. You don't know me, cuz. That's how your mind goes. I know how you're.
Somebody hold on to my ears. Hold on. Let me just.
And you started speaking Spanish and started ready to whip some bitches' weave out.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. So, but I just remember that 300 of them are murderers, and that if all you got was one mean comment, you were lucky.
300 of them are murderers, and bitch, one of them might be me, so be careful. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. That's right.
And that happy holidays from Diabetics Doing Things here. I don't have anything planned. My mom is going to Mexico. We are Muslims to give each other gifts. My family's weird. I don't know. What are you doing for the holiday? Are you celebrating the birth of your Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ?
I think that Erica and I were going to watch I Think You Should Leave season 1 with the holiday gift office sketch where she talks about the copier. Santa brought the copier early. Anyway, and so that's what we're going to do on Christmas. We're keeping it low key. It's none of y'all's business what I do over the holidays. Y'all can follow up in the new year.
I want to know. Okay, but y'all better tell me. You better tell me. Anyways, you guys have a wonderful holiday season, whether you're celebrating Hanukkah or, I know I'm not celebrating Kwanzaa, but if you are, that's also okay. Christmas, the New Year, and also a holiday we don't talk about very much, but the Three Kings, which is the first week of January. Did you know about that holiday, Rob?
The Three Kings?
Los Tres Reyes Magos. It's like a Hispanic holiday where we eat the cake, and like if you get the piece of cake that has the baby in it, you have to have the party.
Oh,
the whole
king
experience.
cake.
Yes, but we eat
Yeah,
it
it's
in
like
Mexican culture.
Mardi Gras.
Yeah, we eat it on January 3rd, so the Reyes Magos. So if you're celebrating any of those, happy holidays from Rob, Eritrea, and Ashley at Diabetics Doing.
Have a safe holiday season. If anybody asks if you should eat that, just let
Eat
that
it.
let
Punch
that
them in the face.
slide. Yeah.
No,
just
no.
just remember that 300 of them are murderers. Happy holidays, guys.